Welcome to my zone online school. My name is Mr. Litwai Dumi. Welcome, Clarice. Before we start with our lesson, let us remember to sanitize. Make sure all the parts of your hands are sanitized and keep the social distance by stretching out. Today's lesson is on square numbers and cube numbers. To start, let us go to page 15 on our booklet. That's where Mathematics Grade 7, Lesson 8 is square numbers and cube numbers. So I have to read through. The learning objective is to know the square and cube numbers and their properties. The competencies need to recognize and list square and cube numbers up to 10. When a number is multiplied by itself, we call that the product or the answer is a square number. For example, you can count the blocks with the first one there, which is a square, which is just 1, so that is the same as 1 times 1 to give you the product or the square number as 1. So 1 is a square number. The second, we have 4 blocks there, and then that is 2 squared, so it's 2 times 2 gives you 4. Goes with 3 squared, 3 times 3 gives you 9, 4 squared, 4 times 4 gives you 16, 5 squared, 5 times 5 gives you 25, 6 squared, which is 6 times 6 gives you 36. We have 7 squared, which is 7 times 7 gives you 49, 8 squared, which is 8 times 8 gives you 64, 9 times 9, 81, and 10 times 10, which is 100. Now we have to move to page 16. Page 16, there is a multiple table whereby there are numbers which are in red, colored in red, and blocks, and some which are yellow. So to read on top on the right side is a multiplication table whereby we have square numbers. Square numbers have 2 dimensions, namely length and breadth, which is also the width. In the multiplication table square, to the left, the square numbers, or we can say the perfect squares, are shown in red. Reading below, that is why there is a little 2 to the top right of the number. We use this when we work out the area. This will be covered later in the year, so it's another topic to do. Take note of the way the number are written. We have 3 squared, that gives you 9. So the base number there is 3. The exponent or the power is 2. And the square number is 9. Or we can also say 9 is a product. We are done with the square numbers, so we have to go to the cube numbers to read through the cube numbers. A cube number is a product of multiplying a number by itself and then by itself again. So that number have to appear 3 times. For example, there are blocks or cubes which are drawn there. The first one is 2 times 2 times 2. That can also be written as 2 cube or 2 to the power 3. There is 3 times 3 times 3. There is 4 times 4 times 4. 5 times 5 times 5. Moving to page 17. Reading through, cube numbers have 3 dimensions, namely the length, the breadth, which is the width, and the height. That is why there is a little 3 to the top right of the number, which that 3 is also called the cube. We use this when we work out volume. This can also be covered a little bit later. Note the way the number is written. There is an exponent, which is 3, which is also power. There is also the base, which is 5, and the product or the cube number, which is 125. If you look in the box on your top right side corner, the numbers are written with the exponent, which is 3. That means 1 cube is 1 times 1 times 1. That gives you 1. 1 is also a cube number. 2 cube gives you 2 times 2 times 2 gives you 8. 3 cube gives you 27. 4 gives you 64. 5 gives you 125. 6 cube gives you 216. 7 gives you 343. 8 gives you 512. 9 gives you 729. And 10 gives you, 10 cubes gives you 1,000. So with that, allow me to go to the chalkboard so that I can explain this in much detail. So we have learned about the square numbers, and the cube numbers. And some of the properties that we need to learn here is we can have, for example, it's a 2 squared. Whenever a number is a square number, it's having this little power here, which is a 2. And this, you can also expand it in this way. You say 2 times 2 to give you a 4. A 4. So if you look at this 2, it means this number has to appear twice. These 2 have to appear twice. That's why there's a 2 here. I can give another example. For example, we have 4 squared. 4 need to appear 2 times. So it has to be 4 times 4. And that should give you a 16. So this 2 here, it shows you that you have 4 2 times, given that we have to multiply. So it's a number multiplied by itself. That number has to appear twice. That's why we have a power 2 here. I think that's much easy. So we say a 2 on top, it's an exponent, or we say the power. The number which is there, which is a 2 or a 4, it's called the base. And the answer you get, it is called the square number, or we can also say the product. A product is an answer to multiplication. So whatever answer you get after you multiplied a number or numbers, then you get a product. But when we have a power as 2, we say that is a square number. Cube numbers, We can give also an example of a cube number as maybe we can say 2 to the power 3 or 2 cube. In that way, we are multiplying this number by itself and again by itself. So we have a 2 times 2 times 2. Look at this little number. It's an exponent or the power. So that number has to indicate that your 2, which you are multiplying, must appear 3 times. So we have 1 here, we have 2, and we have 3 times. That's why there is to the power 3 or cube, because it's 3 times. And 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 tends to be a cube number. We can also say 8 is a product because it came up by multiplying numbers. And we said an answer to multiplication, it is called a product. We can also use the number, for example, 10 to the power 3. If you look at that number, we have to multiply 10 2 times, and 10 must appear 3 times. We have 10 times 10 times 10. So remember, this is 3 times that a number has to appear. And then we say 10 times 10 gives you 100. 100 times 10 gives you 1,000. So we say 1,000 is a cube number coming from 10 cube. 10 times 10 times 10. This is an exponent, this is a base, and this is a cube number, or we can say the product. So with that, I believe this is much, much easier to do and clear. So we have to go back to our booklet so that we can do the activity, or I can read through the activity. Okay, the activity is on page 17 of our booklet. The first question under our activity is to identify all the square numbers in the list below. So there are numbers there: 1, 7, 11, 16, 18, 24, 25, 30, 36, 73, 79, 80, and 81. So you are required to identify or just write down all the square numbers on that list or from that list. The second question is to fill in the missing square numbers in the list below. So there's a list there, there's a space, and there's 4, there's space, there's 25, 3 spaces, and then there's 81 in the last space. You must write. We go to page 18 on our booklet with the third question, meaning to find the path of square numbers from the start to end. You may only move horizontally or vertically. You must go in order without missing out any number. Take note of the instruction which says you can only move horizontal or vertically, and the starting point is indicated with an arrow, and the ending point is also indicated with an arrow. You can do that. Number 4, you have to draw a line to match the numbers from the column on the left to those in the column on the right. So if you have the first one with 2 times 2 times 2, what will be the answer on the right hand side? The second one, if you have 63, what could be the answer? 3 times 3 times 3. We have 43, we have 5 times 5 times 5, and 13. So match the correct numbers which are corresponding. Number 5, there we have to circle all the cube numbers in the box below, or all the numbers which are listed there. Just circle the numbers which are cube numbers. So that brings us to the end of our presentation or lesson of today. Before we leave, let us remember to sanitize and make sure all the parts of your hands are sanitized. Social distance by stretching out, and from us, it's a bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I'm back, and if you are scared of what you read on social media, talk to your parents and ask them the questions. They know everything. Until next time, bye!
Black sunrise, always gonna be a surprise, 'cause we don't know the way it's going to go, 'cause we can see the way it's going to be, 'cause we can see.
We're talking about COVID. Baba G, tell us about the day you found out you had COVID.
The day I found out I have COVID, it was a difficult day. I didn't understand how I got COVID, because I was always covered, I was always with my hand sanitizer. It came with my wife. And that whole day, I was thinking, what's gonna happen to me? I'm gonna survive. My kids, I was losing my tasting, smelling. There were some days I will test my taste buds and put like 4 or 5 chilies in my coffee. No ways. I didn't taste it.
So did you also lose your appetite in the process?
It was very funny. In the first week, no, I was chowing like I will wake up like midnight and make for me something. But after the first week, then the appetite was gone. When you go to bed, your body is also automatically switching off. And that's a dangerous time for COVID. It's like glass pinching you, cutting you inside your lungs. Then the heart was pumping like a rubber pump. You are losing a lot of fluids at night.
Is that through fever or what?
Yeah, it's through fever.
So have you experienced any side effects from having contracted COVID-19?
No, not yet. Maybe still coming, but not yet.
And your wife?
She was complaining about light head. It's an annoying headache. It's light, but it's annoying.
So basically you didn't take any prescribed medicine from the doctor to recover from COVID?
No, I didn't. The only thing I was using is desperate for my blood not to clot. Because for some people, when your lungs are really, really infected, your blood will start to clot from the lungs, close all the airways. That's where we are passing. I'm smoking cigarette, and when you were a smoker and COVID in your lungs now.
So then after you both found out you had COVID, what did you guys do to protect the kids?
The kids move out from the house. The Buddhists will come, then we'll collect everything for them and just put for them outside. When they came, just grab the food and go.
So what was the biggest battle for you? Was it mental or physical?
Mentally. Mentally was the biggest battle. I'm actually an international movie maker, and my career was cut off. I couldn't put bread on the table. There were some days we have one meal for the day and went to bed. And that was hitting me in my mind. What if Blessing get corona now? Where am I gonna go? Who's gonna help? There were also some people depend on us in the rural areas. We couldn't help them. My future was black, dark, dark, dark. I couldn't even see that small light at the end of the tunnel. One day, my daughter decided, now, I want to see my father today. And I just told her, yeah, she can come. The first words was, Daddy, I was praying for you yesterday night. Don't worry, Corona will go back soon. And I was asking, from where? From Namibia? She said, no, not from Namibia, from you. And you are not looking good. And she was actually heartbroken. Until today, she hates Corona. From there, then I was like, oh, okay. If the smallest one is saying this, why am not picking me up self and do the right thing and get rid of this thing? That's where I started to run, to practice, coming to my quiet place. And actually, the main thing that broke my heart during that time was there was no one. The time of COVID, there was no one.
So can you tell us where we are right now?
We are at my silent place. I call this place my silent place. I will come here when the COVID is hitting me like 120%. Looking at the ocean, then you will hear voices like, no, you don't belong here. Today, you don't belong here. Get up and go home. Some days, they will nurse you like, no, you will survive. Your future is a bright future. You must not give up now. Think about your kids. Think about the people around you. Even the wind will do that. Actually, you must meditate. The thing of COVID is, looks like COVID is afraid of the warmness and is friends with the coldness. So the whole time you are baking in the sun, it helps a lot.
So is that what you did?
Yeah, I did. I will do that twice a day. This was supposed to be a golden year for me, a very, very good golden year for me, but then COVID decided, no, this is not going to be your golden year. Everything was cancelled. We, the filmmakers, this year, from the international shoots, lost lot of money.
You've lost 3 family members? Is it all due to COVID?
No, not all due to COVID. First one, my sister, she was very close to me. She contracted COVID April, and she was in ICU for 3 months. The COVID damaged her lungs, and at the stage her lungs collapsed and she couldn't breathe without the machines. Her kidneys failed, her liver has failed. COVID is real. First of all, COVID is real. It's not a joke. Most of the people, they fall away from COVID regulations. Still early to fall away from COVID regulations. We must still go in line with those COVID regulations.
And how long did you say it took you to recover?
3 weeks, 21 days.
What must somebody do to change your mind from that negative perspective to that positive?
COVID, no job, it's very dangerous. There was one day I just decided I'm gonna take a rope, go to the jetty, sit around there, and after all I will hang there by the jetty. The time I arrived here there was no wind, out of nowhere, the ocean was like angry, and it started to get cold, and I was like, but it was just nice weather. Then I sat down. Then the universe will talk with you, the wind, the sun, the ocean. That's the main thing of COVID. If you don't save yourself, no one will save you. And we must always appreciate what we have around us. That's the main thing in COVID. If you don't appreciate what you have around you, no, you will lose your head.
Smile, smile, smile. When you walk with me, I just want you to smile, smile.
My industry and what I've done with my hands in Namibia, it's going all over the world, and here you are, Papa G, you want to quit? Now, I'm excited for 2021. It's not gonna be the same like 2020 now. I'm getting back in the groove.
Give me food, clothes, water, and shelter. Nothing else, no matter. You're my moonlight in my heaven. Let all my sins be forgiven. Happiness rain on me. Never let the children cry.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.